Hello and welcome, I'm Ankit Tuteja and you are watching Tech It Out. This week we tell you about a TikTok school. Find out how AI models can help fashion brands promote diversity and inclusion. And we bring you a wrap of all the latest tech breakthroughs. Let's get started. This story is about one of the widely used apps in the world. I'm talking about TikTok. We are not going to tell you about controversies surrounding TikTok. Instead, we are going to tell you about a TikTok school. Here is more.
Yeah, this is our link. Which link? Link 44, right? Yeah, this is our link 44. Yeah.
In classrooms across China, a new wave of education is taking shape. Instead of traditional lectures, students are mastering the art of selling through TikTok. This is a school in Guangzhou. An instructor can be seen showcasing Middle Eastern-inspired garments to the camera, targeting Muslim buyers in the UK.
How about you change another color to show our friend? Okay. Yeah. What color you got?
Here, Chinese students delve into courses tailored for selling products overseas via TikTok. Mead Education Technologies e-commerce school is just one example of this innovative trend. From factory owners to recent graduates, students are joining these classes eager to navigate the complexities of international commerce.
We teach people which products are selling better and which markets are more suitable for their current stages of business development.
While TikTok remains inaccessible in China, its allure for selling abroad is undeniable. Chinese vendors are increasingly bypassing the middlemen, aiming to market directly to global consumers.
Our students are not just selling to the US market, especially when you're playing the role of supplier. The current trend for TikTok for Southeast Asia is also very good. Last year, we had a student who has now achieved top sales in Singapore.
However, selling on TikTok isn't as easy as it looks. Succeeding on the platform requires tools for bypassing internet restrictions in China. Sellers also need to navigate through the language barrier. These challenges have prompted a boom in such courses and consulting services. Meet Q Zhu Wen. Enrolling in a TikTok course is more than a learning opportunity for him. It's a strategic move for the cosmetics company he works for.
We want to do business on TikTok because we want to have an extra track to compete in. If our company's products and prices have advantages, we want to see if there is more demand for our product in the United States or Southeast Asia.
As apps like TikTok continue to redefine the way we connect and consume, TikTok schools are equipping aspiring entrepreneurs with the skills to thrive in an increasingly digital marketplace.
On Tech It Out, we keep bringing you interesting and quirky stories from around the world. Up next, we show you how old toys are making big bucks for collectors.
Do you still have your childhood toys neatly kept in their original box? If the answer is yes, then you might want to take a look. Chances are that you might own a treasured piece of history which could fetch you a quick buck or two. Old plastic to some, treasured memories for others. The toy collecting market now means big bucks for many. Toys of all shapes, size and age. Many toys are now worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Toy collectors are willing to spend serious cash on their hobby. Meet John Morgan. Morgan is an auctioneer and toy dealer. Morgan has been in the business since he turned 18 years old. On some busy days, he ends up selling as many as 600 toys at auctions. For Morgan, the toy market is a cycle, and he's always trying to stay one step ahead.
So I always think of toys as a wheel, and the toys that I was selling in the early 80s, the collectors really are starting to die, and the need and the price of them is starting to dip, whereas toys for people who were playing with them in the 80s and 90s are now very much coming on trend. And that wheel will change again, because as they get older, the price will go up and it will come down. And then eventually these things become genuinely old and hard to find. Let's call them antique, for want of a better word. And then the price comes back up the other side. So it's a real wheel that just keeps turning and turning and turning. The clever man or woman is the person who spots that wheel very early.
One franchise that continues to fetch big money is Star Wars, particularly original action figures from the 1980s. Some figures, still in their original packing, are being sold for up to $750. Dave Hinnett is one such toy collector and dealer. He is a proud owner of Star Wars toys. He says on a good day, he ends up making big money. His record sales in one single day is $6,264.
You'll see a toy that you had when you were 3 or 4 and the memories just hit you. I remember being in the house with my brother and we had these cars and we run them in the garden and covered them in mud or whatever, or we had the Millennium Falcon, we threw it down the stairs or whatever. I think it's that trigger to your childhood, and I think that's the biggest power of old toys.
It's quite common for dealers to be toy collectors themselves. Hinnett has his collection of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang toys. Another popular toy is Action Man, the British licensed copy of Hasbro's G.I. Joe. Since its launch in 1966, Action Man in its various guises and outfits has enthralled generations of children. Chris Malbon is an Action Man specialist dealer. He has been buying and selling Action Man figures for 46 years. He even helped the Victoria and Albert Museum in London sort its Action Man collection. He once paid $2,500 for the Flying Space Adventurer, which is considered the holy grail for Action Man collectors, and then sold it for over $6,200 6 months later.
Action Man's been very kind to me financially, because I originally started to collect it when it wasn't worth anything at all, and it was always something that was kept underneath the table on most fairs, whereas recently I think it's gone quite dramatically upwards.
While traditional investments such as stocks and real estate are more common, the number of people getting into the toy collector's space has gradually increased over the last few years. After all, what might look like old plastic to some is instead a treasured link to a childhood memory for another.
It is believed that AI-generated models could bring more diversity to the fashion industry. But is it really making a difference in the real world? Let's find out.
Imagine this. You're shopping online and there's an option that lets you see the clothes you like on a model who is similar to you in body shape and skin tone. Sounds easy and fun, right? Enter La La Land. A Netherlands-based company is revolutionizing fashion with generative AI. It's using artificial intelligence technology to bring diversity and innovation to online shopping.
I was once shopping online and as you probably commonly do yourself, and you never see models that resemble you.
With La La Land services, brands can showcase AI-generated models wearing their garments without hiring traditional models or organizing photo shoots. So how do companies create AI fashion models? Companies start by training their algorithms on photos of people from underrepresented communities. This is to create a strong database of hair, skin, and body types of different ethnicities. The company then licenses these images to create a revenue stream and help these communities while ensuring that the AI models look lifelike.
Then over time you start seeing things like colorization being introduced, and then over time you get this photorealistic quality that you can control.
While for brands, tech brings the benefit of cutting costs, speeding up production, and embracing inclusivity. Not all are convinced. Some in the industry are concerned. Photographers, models, and makeup artists fear that technology could replace human professionals. Experts argue that relying on AI for diversity might backfire, allowing companies to avoid hiring real people. But the company says that isn't true.
For most of the fashion brands we work with, they have no plans to scale down on any traditional photo shoots. What they would do is fill up the rest of the gap with artificial models just to make a more inclusive and representational shopping environment.
Moreover, a few experts believe that tech could misguide consumers as they might mistake AI models for real ones.
There's something to be said for truth in advertising. That also requires authenticity. And it's an ethical decision to say, we're going to let you know that this is an avatar image that's advertising this versus not telling the consumer. I think the consumer has a right to know.
One thing is for certain, AI is here to stay. And the future will show whether AI can truly make fashion inclusive, provided brands navigate its use responsibly.
We have shared with you a lot of interesting stories on emerging tech trends, but there is a lot more that's happening in the world of technology across the globe. Here is a quick wrap of all the latest tech breakthroughs.
China has unveiled its first text-to-video large model called Vidu at the 2024 Zhongguancun Forum. Vidu can create a 16-second long high-definition video with just one click.
The Vidu developed by our joint research team should be the latest achievement of the full-stack independent innovation. It has achieved technological breakthroughs in multiple dimensions, including that it can simulate the real physical world, can have imagination, and can understand the language of multiple lenses, no longer simply a push and pull of the lens. It can also generate up to 16 seconds of video with one click. In the future, we will further extend the video length. At the same time, it has a high degree of consistency in character, scene, and time, and can understand Chinese elements.
Developed by the Chinese AI firm Shengshu Technology and Tsinghua University, Vidu is China's first video large model with an extended duration. China claims Vidu is very close to the level of OpenAI's Sora. According to a Reuters and Ipsos poll, a majority of Americans believe the Chinese government uses TikTok to influence public opinion in the United States. The report says around 58% Americans feel China uses TikTok to shape US public opinion. Also, while 50% of Americans support banning TikTok, 32% respondents oppose the ban. 46% Americans feel China is using the app to spy on American citizens, an allegation Beijing has often denied. Interestingly, around 60% Americans think it's inappropriate for US political candidates to use TikTok for their campaigns. Do note that the poll only surveyed US adults and does not reflect the views of people under 18 years of age. A new French government report says that children below 11 years should not be allowed to have cell phones. The report also says children under 13 years should be barred from using social media, while kids between the ages of 13 and 18 should have limited social media access. And when it comes to toddlers, the report says kids below 3 years should not be exposed to any type of screen. This includes both smartphone and television. While it advised parents with kids above 6 years that they can allow their children to use smartphones in a moderate and controlled manner. The report comes at a time when global policymakers are trying to curb the use of smartphones and social media among children and teenagers. Several studies have shown a connection between social media use and mental health issues among the youth. Studies say that young people who owned smartphones in elementary school report worse mental health in adulthood. Tech giant Apple has removed mobile applications from its App Store that let users create non-consensual nude images of people using artificial intelligence technology. While some of these apps offered the face swap feature, others allowed users to remove clothes from a person's normal photos. What's even more concerning is that ads for these apps were spotted on Instagram, flouting Meta's no nudity rule. As per reports, the Instagram ad promoted the apps with the tagline, "Undress any girl for free." Moreover, the ads directed users to Apple's App Store where the mobile applications were listed as art generators. According to 404 Media, Apple took action against these apps only after the publication shared the links to the app and their ads. In a joint effort to uncover a major fraud involving digital currencies, the US Federal Bureau of Investigation and India's Enforcement Directorate conducted a search operation on April 27 in the Indian state of Uttarakhand. The massive fraud involved currency amounting to nearly $360 million, that is around 3,000 crores in Indian rupees. Acting on the FBI's information, the ED took action against 2 Indian citizens linked to a drug trafficking operation, Parvinder Singh and Banmeet Singh. The 2 suspects allegedly converted the drug trade proceeds into digital currency and transferred them out of India. The group also involved an intricate network of distributors and cells working on the operation. Investigators said the transactions involved the use of cryptocurrency for drug payments. The group also laundered funds through cryptocurrency wallets. The United Kingdom is cracking down on common and weak passwords to make it difficult for hackers to breach accounts. The UK is enacting new laws that will ban weak passwords like admin or 12345. The new measures mandate minimum security standards for all smart devices. UK's Department for Science, Innovation and Technology has implemented these measures that are aimed at shielding consumers from hacks and cyber attacks. This means that manufacturers of phones, TVs and smart doorbells, among other smart devices, must now ensure their internet-connected devices are protected against cyber criminals. Under the new regulations, manufacturers need to prompt their users to change common or easily predictable passwords. Moreover, brands will have to publish their contact details for reporting bugs and issues and must be transparent about the timing of security updates. Generative artificial intelligence is shaking up creative industries. And now, this cutting-edge technology is all set to transform the online gaming industry. According to a report, in 2023, there were over 3.2 billion gamers globally. The number is expected to reach 3.3 billion by the end of 2024. Gaming developers are now using AI to generate more realistic environments and characters. The French video game studio Ubisoft is experimenting with the new possibilities of AI technology.
It's a small project where 30 people at Ubisoft at the Paris studio have been trying to understand how Gen AI can open up new gameplay possibilities, new ways of playing with much more freedom in the way you interact with the game. For example, by talking to the game, by writing, by having characters that can react to what you say on the fly. So really nothing is pre-written, apart from all the content that allows you to condition your responses.
Tout le contenu qui va permettre de conditionner ces réponses.
Generative AI holds immense promise for the video game industry. However, with such advancements, the fear of AI taking over human jobs will always be there. For the foreseeable future, the challenge for government and tech establishments is to equip employees to adapt to an industry that is changing constantly. Researchers from the University of Sydney have developed a novel chemical process that could produce sustainable aviation fuel from gases emitted by landfills. Researchers claim the fuel can reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Well, the methane coming out of landfills is a sustainable biogas. It's carbon neutral because it's produced from short-term putrescible food. and it can replace the fossil methane that we're using in society today. And we think if you take all the waste that we're producing in Australia, all the household waste, all the bio-waste, all the sludges from water treatment, and you convert it into energy, that could supplement about 10% of Australia's energy supply. And that's a massive amount in terms of mitigating climate change.
The aviation industry accounts for 3% of global carbon emissions.
I think the impact is very significant because unusually you have a win-win approach here. In one sense, we have this idea that we're going to be capturing emissions that are coming from landfill. On the other, we have a sector that really needs a new technology in order to become more sustainable. The aviation industry accounts for approximately 3% of the world's emissions. So clearly, you cannot get to net zero without producing some sustainable solutions.
At the 2023 United Nations Climate Summit in Dubai, nearly 200 countries agreed to rapidly and substantially cut methane emissions. This was in addition to a previous commitment made by over 150 countries to cut global methane emissions by at least 30% from 2020 levels by the end of the decade. Ukraine has unveiled an AI-generated spokeswoman, Victoria She. Victoria is based on the likeness of Rosalie Nombre, a Ukrainian singer and media personality. The Ukraine government said going forward, Victoria will make official statements for the country's foreign ministry. As per the Ukraine Foreign Ministry's official letter, Victoria's statements will not be generated by AI. Instead, it will be written and verified by real people. Moreover, to avoid fakes, statements by Victoria will be accompanied by a QR code that will lead the viewer to the ministry's official website. The Ukrainian government says Victoria will save time and resources for the diplomats.
Well, that's all we have for you in this episode of Tech It Out. We will continue to bring you exciting inventions and updates on the latest gadgets. I will be back soon. Until then, keep watching WION World is One. And yes, don't forget to follow us on social media. For now, it's me, Ankit Tuteja, signing off.